One unexpected message, one coffee shop meeting, and the realization that life is too short to settle. I've always believed that every day blends into the next. Wake up, work, sleep, repeat. My name is Ethan Miller, and until last Tuesday, I was convinced that my life was just a series of mundane routines. I'd set my alarm at 6:30 a.m., rush through a quick breakfast, and then face the daily grind at a corporate job that barely sparked any passion. Evenings were spent on the same worn-out couch, scrolling through social media, wondering if I was missing something more. That Tuesday began like any other. I brewed my coffee, dressed in the same office shirt I'd worn 100 times before, and stepped out into the cool autumn air. The familiar sounds of the city, the hum of traffic, distant chatter, and the occasional siren, accompanied me on my way to work. But as I sat on the bus, a buzz on my phone interrupted my routine. The notification wasn't from work or a friend. I almost didn't pay it any mind. It was a message from a number I didn't recognize. I hesitated, then opened it. The text simply read, "Hey Ethan. It's been too long. Coffee at our old spot." I stared at the screen in disbelief. The sender's name was missing, but the style of the message tugged at a memory I couldn't quite place. In college, I'd shared countless late-night talks, deep confessions, and plans for the future with someone named Clara. We'd lost touch over the years after life took us on separate paths. Could it really be her reaching out? My heart skipped a beat. With work looming and curiosity piqued, I decided to take a short detour during lunch. I quickly replied, "I'm intrigued. Where and when?" The reply was instantaneous. "Meet me at Brew and Bean 12:30. See." I glanced at the clock, just enough time before my lunch break was over. I couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than a casual catch-up. Brew and Bean had always been our favorite hangout. A small, cozy coffee shop with mismatched chairs and a scent of freshly ground beans that felt like home. As I pushed open the door, I was greeted by the warm buzz of soft indie music and quiet conversations. I scanned the room and saw her immediately. Clara was sitting at a corner table, her eyes focused on a sketchpad. She looked up as I approached, a gentle smile playing on her lips. "Ethan," she said warmly, rising to greet me with an unexpected hug that brought back memories of simpler times. We exchanged a few tentative pleasantries, and soon the conversation flowed like it had never been interrupted. We talked about the little things, the weather, mutual acquaintances, the small triumphs and disappointments of our everyday lives. But as the initial comfort settled in, Clara's tone shifted. "I've been thinking about the person I used to know," she said softly, "and about how we all lose a bit of ourselves in the daily grind. You always had such big dreams, Ethan. What happened to you?" Her words struck a chord. I hesitated, then admitted, "I don't know anymore. Somewhere between the routine and responsibility, I lost track of who I wanted to be." Clara nodded, her eyes filled with empathy. "I reached out because I've been there too. I left behind a lot in search of something more meaningful, and I want to help you find that spark again." After our coffee, Clara suggested we take a walk through the nearby park, a place where we had spent many afternoons in college, dreaming about the future. As we strolled under trees now turning gold with autumn, she recounted stories from our past. She reminded me of the countless times we'd stayed up late discussing our ambitions and the adventures we'd planned before reality forced us into responsibilities. At one point, she paused near a weathered bench and said, "Do you remember that promise we made? To never let the ordinary steal our dreams." I did, back when the world was full of endless possibilities, and we believed that every day could be extraordinary. Her words rekindled a long-dormant fire inside me. I started to see the cracks in my routine, the missed opportunities, the quiet resignation. It wasn't that I was ungrateful for my stable life. I just realized that somewhere along the way, I had forgotten how to truly live. We eventually parted ways that afternoon with a promise to meet again. That night, as I lay in bed replaying the day's events, I noticed a tiny detail in our conversation that sent my thoughts spiraling. A mention of a project I had once abandoned, a passion for photography I'd set aside in favor of practicality. The next morning, with a mix of excitement and apprehension, I rummaged through old boxes in my closet until I found my long-forgotten camera. Dusting it off, I decided to take it out for a spin. I spent the day capturing the ordinary beauty of my neighborhood. The way sunlight hit the dew on freshly cut grass, the candid smiles of strangers on the bus, the vibrant chaos of the local market. As I reviewed the photos later that evening, I realized something profound. Each image told a story of life's simplicity and complexity, a story that was uniquely mine. It struck me that the extraordinary isn't always in grand gestures or dramatic events. Sometimes, it's hidden in the details of an ordinary day, waiting to be rediscovered. That unexpected message from Clara and our afternoon together opened my eyes. I began to carve out small moments of creativity and reflection amid the monotony of work and routine. I enrolled in a weekend photography class, reconnected with old friends, and even started a modest blog to share my journey of rediscovery. Weeks later, as I sat in my favorite cafe, I realized that life's twists and turns aren't always dramatic. They're often subtle nudges that remind you to live intentionally. Clara and I kept in touch, our friendship deepening as we both embraced the possibility of change. I understood that every day holds the potential to turn extraordinary, if you're open to noticing the beauty in the everyday. In the end, that one unexpected text and a simple coffee meetup transformed my outlook. I learned that life isn't a script written by fate. It's a canvas we paint every day with our choices, dreams, and willingness to change. And as I continued to explore the world through my camera lens, I carried with me a renewed commitment to never let the ordinary steal my dreams again.